Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in once again. So we are back on our little paint project for JT for I Need My Garage Time. Doing a car up for him, gifting this to him actually. He knows about it. It's on its way, JT. So we're almost done with it, buddy. So we got this guy right here. I asked him what colors he wanted it in, and he wanted the gray with the silver. So that's what we got. We decaled it. We cleared it, so it's almost ready to go. So at this point, we're going to take it over and polish it. There's a few little glitches in the paint. It's been sitting in the Suze bake oven. I did not bake it. It's just been sitting there. I've been kind of busy, so I haven't had time to get to let it bake or anything. I like to be close while that's cooking. I don't usually just turn it on and go to work or whatever. You know, it's just because it is meant for food. So not that I'm expecting anything ever to happen, but you know. So anyways, we're going to take this one, we're going to wet sand it, and we're going to polish it. So I'll show you a few of the things we're going to use to polish it with. One I'm going to start with is the Wizard Final Cut Compound. Yes, I like this stuff. It's very chalky, so be prepared. It works really good. It works really fast. It's a great product. I love this stuff. And then I'll alternate. I'll go one of two things, one of two different ones. We'll either go with the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish, which is similar to the Wizard's, but it's not as cutting. It doesn't have the cut like the Wizard does. The Wizard knows. Other than that, we'll alternate to the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish. I like this stuff. I love this. This is my kind of go-to. But I found something lately that it's really good. Mr. Wizard product, once again. So I'm knocking stuff over. You have no idea what's in front of this camera. It's a mess. Anyways, Mr. Wizard, Master Shine. Shine Master. Let's go with that. Yeah, it's Shine Master. Okay, there we go. Shine Master by Wizard. Guys, give this a try. You will love it. It's like, wow. It's like night and day from the polish, anything else I've ever used. It's very watery. I mean, a little bit goes a long ways. Unbelievable shine with this thing. So yeah, so we'll take you over to the bench and I'll show you a little bit of this and go from there. Like I say, the car turned out really good. There's a couple of dust spots in it, so we're going to take and wet sand them out, and it looks nice. I'm pretty happy with it. Got a few little boo-boos in there, but we're going to wet sand them out and see what happens. So let's go on over to the bench and let's get started on it. Alrighty, guys. So like I said, we got our, see, that turned out pretty nice. There's a couple little spots in it. Not too bad. There's one right here, which is like, oh, right at the corner. Other than that, it's not too bad. Now we do have to be careful because these decals are quite raised a little bit. So we're not getting too carried away, just taking a couple of high spots down. It looks pretty good on the side, so just a couple little glitches in there. So we should be all right. There's like a piece of hair in that. This one here is going to be the roughest one because there's like a little fiber in there. I don't know where those come from when I'm painting. Yeah, but either way, it's in there. Nothing we can do. It's all done. So that's where we're at. Other than that, we're going to get cranking on it. So we got our hood. Got a couple good glitches in that, which unbelievable. Yeah, so, and then we have a rear bumper, which actually is really nice. I don't even know if I'll do much to that. Probably not, because there's like, it's super clean. Along with the nose is also super clean, so I might not even touch that. If anything, I'll run a little polish over it just to give it a little bit of a same contour, but it's pretty smooth. It's got a nice paint detail all the way around, so we're pretty good there. So the cool thing is, I was talking to a friend of mine here just this morning, and he just painted one of these during the summer. And I'll show you a picture of it. I thought, that is awesome, because I would love to do one of these in this color. So take a look at this. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I said, dude, send me the picture. That's awesome looking. He does a little paint work here and there on his days off, and looks pretty cool. So, all right, guys, we're going to start with our Trizact 3000 on this is what we're going to start with. So we have our Trizact 3000. So we're going to cut a little piece off here and get rolling with it. In the water she goes. We'll save that one for a little bit later. We're going to start with the hood first. I always like starting with the hood just to see where we end up at. So as I mentioned many times before, guys, you're just going to start lightly and just continue to check your work as you go. Now the 3000 will take it down pretty quick compared to the 5, obviously. So you just want to be careful on where you're at with it. So I like to check it often, just to make sure we're good. And I always look for the high spots first, like the spots that are my problem child areas. So I know to kind of concentrate on that, because this looks pretty good right here already. This whole section looks good. So I really don't need to do much with that. I got one little blip there and I got 2 right here. So I want to concentrate more on this area here in a little bit. I don't need to do the whole thing, because we already kind of got it flattened down a little bit. So you don't need to go much more than that. So that's why I like cutting them into little edges here, so I can take in, because if I go over top of that, obviously we know what's going to happen. So we're just going to go here a little bit. Like I said, just got to be careful with it. You don't want to go too much. Just enough to get that out of there. So that one is almost gone. Because remember, we're going to go back. We're going to go over this in the end with some 5000. So we got just one to go, and it's very faint. So we got to be careful, because we're probably cutting pretty good here at this point. And those spots are gone. They're gone. Okay, so I got one here, one here, one here. Man. So we're going to do a little over here. We're going to come up here. Hit that just a little bit. Kind of just give the whole thing an all over. Then we'll kind of concentrate on those spots up top. I seen those in there when I was painting, and I thought, oh, it's one of those, do I dare try dipping it out of there, or do I just let it go and just continue? We just let it go and continued, and now this is where we're at. We are almost gone. I mean, it's almost there. Just a little bit. This you want to take your time with. I mean, you don't have to rush through it. And I don't put like, it's just super hard pressure. Just enough to, pretty much the weight of my finger. And that looks pretty good. I see just a shade. I mean, just a shade. Alright, that's looking pretty good. We got those 2 little spots up there. Now this one spot's right up here right on the curve of that. And I thought, oh, what a horrible spot for that. I mean, any spot's a horrible spot for one, but you know, that makes it really bad. Now we don't have to go all the way like completely, because remember, we are going to hit this with 5000, but I do need to get kind of the heavier spots out first, because the 5000 you can just be there a lot longer. So we're going to switch over to the 5 and just see where we end up at. And then from here, we're going to give it a little bit of some polish and see how she takes it. And we're going to continue on with the rest of the car after this. So that's why I don't go too heavy with the 3, because you are going to take it down a little bit with the 5. So that panel didn't have much in there. We're just smoothing it out just to get rid of the 3000 mark. To me, the hood's my favorite part of the car. I mean, it's like the most, you know, viewed. It's always that centerpiece. So I always like to make sure it looks pretty good. Okay. Should be looking pretty good there, I think. Nice and dried off. Oh yeah. Got a little boo-boo there yet, just a little bit. So we're going to work on that just a little. I see the rest of them look like they're pretty good. So once you do these and you start polishing, you can always go back and resand. But the thing is, you're just going to be kind of starting over with the sanding and polishing procedure. So we're going to go back to our 3000. This is just something you can, I mean, you can get as much as you want, but you, like I say, you got to be careful not to burn through it. So, okay, looks like we got her down right there. So we're going to hit it back with some 5. Kind of clean it up a little bit. It's just a little bit left in there, but man, I won't go too far. We're going to polish it and we'll see how it does. We're going to start with the Wizard. Like I said, this stuff's ultra chalky. So I'll just put a little bit on the table. Add a little bit there. She's nice and thick. That's why it always plugs up the top. Okay, made a nice mess with cutting my towel up. And we'll just give her a little edging here and we'll just start. Just pick a spot and just start working at it. Like I say, I don't go to town on, you know, like heavy pressure, just nice back and forth, and just make sure you do get the corners, because you don't want to sit there in the middle and then you get the one corner, it's got that kind of hazy look because you kind of avoided it. But of course you don't want to sit there and just hit the corners hard all day either, because you will burn through it even doing it like this. So we're going to give this a little bit of hit time here. I can still see that one dimple right there. Now once you start polishing things, you'll start seeing it more and more and more. Here's the thing, I painted that body with lacquer, And I don't paint as much lacquer, so I'm not as, you know, familiar with it like I am enamels. So they don't, to me, like I said before, they spray beautiful, and they're quick to work with. And the one thing I do like about them is they are a lot thinner than an enamel. But on the flip side to all that, to me they're just not as durable, and it doesn't take much to like go through it if you're, you know, sanding and stuff like that. I mean, it's just like, whoops, I burned through it already. So once you polish this back out, you'll start to see some of those spots that you didn't quite get all the way out, and you're like, ooh, I should probably get those. So I don't like to get too crazy polishing, because if I do notice those spots, I'll go back and fix them now. Because you don't want to sit here and get the thing worked right up polished and like, ooh, I should have worked on those spots and get those out of there. So I thought I was doing pretty good, but these are really popped back up out of there. So those not too, and that's pretty heavy there too. I got one right there. So I really didn't notice it until I got kind of a half polished look going on. So I'm going to go back and try a little more 3000 on that, and I will see what I can do with it, and I'll bring you guys back, and we'll switch on different compounds and see how it looks after that. So I'll work on this for a few minutes. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so the hood was a little more stubborn than I'd like to have seen it. So I ended up breaking out some bigger guns, and I broke out some 2500, just the plain paper. So one thing I do find with this, sometimes it will help if you got like that one weird bump you can't get rid of. Because sometimes I find the sponge will kind of just float over top of it, where that paper is more of a solid, and it just seems to do the job a little bit better. But when I'm using it, I mean, I'm just like very meticulous in that one little spot and get it worked out. And then I go back to my sandpapers that I started with. I'll go back to the 3, then back to the 5, and that worked pretty good. We got them out. So they're out. So now we can go through and do our polishing once again. So we're going to start back with our McGuire's, and we're going to get that first kind of semi-gloss look coming back. Like I say, that's how I just go a little bit with it and then recheck. Because if, like I say, if you don't want to sit and polish the whole thing and like, oh, I should have got that spot out. Well, maybe I'll work on it. Well, now you're polishing the thing all over again. You start from scratch. So we're getting the luster back a little bit here. It's going to take a little bit. Yes, sir. Looks real nice. Real nice. Oh, I can still see it. See, now that I polished it, I can see those just a little bit. So I'm going to go back with this just a shade. Just a little. And only concentrate just on the 2 spots. If I can get in there. Or just right here. Because that clear coat's going to be only so thick, so I don't want to obviously burn through it. I think that one's gone. Well, I thought it was gone before, but... So I got this one here left. So I'm going to show you guys just the hood here, and I'm going to do the rest of it off camera. And we'll show you when we're done, because, you know, this can get kind of monotony just sitting there. So we'll take some of the 3, and the 3 is going to cut it down too, so kind of even it out with the rest of the hood. Because the other thing too, when you are sanding it, or when you're polishing it, you're cutting it down as well. So all these little steps you're working on, you're cutting paint off, and you're taking it down a little at a time. Getting this side, I'm trying to avoid going over top of that body line there. Man, it's just a little bit there, just a little bit. But we're gonna let it go. We're gonna let it ride. We'll see how she looks here. And sometimes I see a little something in the paint while I'm painting it. I will put on a little heavier, know I'm going to clear it. And then sometimes I think, you know, that probably wasn't the smartest idea, because now I got to sand all that clearing down. But the thing is, though, you can also use that as a leveling point, because now you got the clear built up, and now you got just this little dot sticking through, and you can sand it down to the tip of that dot is gone, and you're good to go. So it's looking pretty good with that polish. So now we're going to hit it with some of this polish. And this polish here is kind of my go-to stuff. This is kind of my final polish end of it. And then all said and done, we'll hit it with that wizard. And you'll see it like, whoa, it'll just pop. Check our progress on that. This one you'll start seeing it really come to. So you can see we're starting to get our luster back. If I let this dry just a little bit, because it's almost like wax. I found if you let it haze just a little bit, it'll actually wipe off a lot nicer. These actually wipe them off really good. I don't like the polish with these. just because I noticed like this here, the red dye will actually start coming off from the polish. But you can see how that's starting to luster up. So just to show you, let me throw some of this other on here. I'm going to throw a little bit of this guy in there. We'll let that set just for a few minutes and we'll buffer off there quick. And I got a little more work to do on the hood, guys, but I'm just kind of showing you a little bit of the... See, that stuff works nice. So I'm going to go back and kind of concentrate on this a little bit more. See if I can get this cleaned up a little bit. And I'll bring you guys back and kind of go from there. Alright guys, I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm going to keep working on this and we'll see how she turns out. Well guys, it must be amateur hour because I tell you what, I was going to show you wet sanding this and I didn't have the camera on. So I thought, oh cool, let me shut it off. Like, hey, it's already shut off because I never turned it on. Awesome. So back on this 442. So what we did is we wet sanded it all down. I started wet sanding and polish, but I tell you what, so if you guys are doing this model, there's a couple things you need to look out for because I overlooked it and I just went ahead and just did the old, let's paint it and go. Well, there's some things on this. My first one of these I didn't notice this. But this one here, it's actually got some weird flash high spots that I never noticed in the other one. So if you look right here, there's an edge right there, like a mold line. There's one across the back right here. And it's all on the edges. So it's got sharp edges along the way. So I didn't notice that. And I kind of wish I would have because I would have sanded them down before I did anything. So I got a little bit of an edge right here. And I'm afraid to wet sand it because I feel like I got just a tinge of black showing right there. You really got to study it to see it. Now the hood, and I preach to you guys all the time, do not burn through it. Be careful, be careful. So you can see right there, because like I said, that sharp line on that hood, we end up going through it. So not a big deal. Nice thing is I put lacquer on this. So I'm going to do is take some of my lacquer and just put a little bit on there, let it dry, give it a little bit of wet sand, and then we're going to re-clear this whole car. So I end up using the Trizac 8000, and I tell you what, this is my first time using this. Wow, love it. I mean, this stuff's amazing. It just beautiful. So I can tell it would polish out very nice because it almost has a polished look to it now. Obviously it's flat, but you know, I can tell it's not going to take a lot to polish it from here, especially with another coat of clear on it. And I don't know why this first time around I got a lot of dust in this. I mean, a lot, like a lot more than I usually like to see. So of course I had to do a lot more sanding because I still see there was a few spots in here I probably can do some more on, especially in the trunk. There's some spots right here. So we're going to take some of this Trizac again, and I tell you what guys, this stuff was really, really nice. It just makes me nervous going through some of these spots because I don't want to burn through it and have that color showing through. So I went over the decals, tried to smooth them down a little bit. They're a little, you know, you clear coat because decals got a little bit of edge to them. So we did sand it around them a little bit so we can kind of knock them down. I didn't go crazy over them, just enough to kind of knock it down a little bit. I had a little spot here and a little one here and one here. Then one right here, which is still a little bit there. So I've been kind of working on it, but it's one of those, well, I mean, if I go through the clear coat, it's not a big deal because obviously we're clear coating it. But I'm just be careful with that corner, like this lip right here, and I don't want to go through and hit that decal. That's the other bad time there. So, like I say, we're just giving us just a light, and then checking our work every once in a while because you don't want to keep going and find out, oh, I went far enough. So right there, it's pretty close, but I can go a little bit more. And like I say, on this spot here, I'm not overly worried if I go too far. As long as I don't go deep into the gray, obviously. But I don't want it to go far enough to where it's going to leave a dimp, you know, a little dimple in it either. So that line of harsh plastic kind I was telling you about earlier, it's also along the lip here, right here, with this edge where this gold stripe is. So I don't want to sand over that because I see a little bit of rough edges right there on that decal. So if I started sanding that, it's going to hit that high spot first and it's going to rip that decal and then it'll be game over. So I don't want to do that. So we're going to
give myself another coat of clear, and we'll put her on pretty good. This way here I can kind of ensure myself, you know, to polish it, because I'm kind of afraid to polish it to a point, because I'm afraid I'm going to just burn through the clear coat and I'm not going to be able to polish it, because then I'll be rubbing into the gray and taking it down to the black. And yeah, so like I say, guys, building this model, just look out for that. I thought I was in the clear when I did this, but apparently I missed those. So yeah, so just pay attention to that, because like I say, I got a spot in the back here. I mean, you got to look at just right, and you can see just a little bit. So I'm going to leave it, because I don't want to, you know. That's the problem when you get something with the decals on it. You really got to be careful, because you obviously don't want to cut your decals up. So doing clear on this the second time around, which is always cool to do, because it'll look so cool all said and done, because it'll give it just that beautiful look to it, because this is now nice and smooth, and it's not going to take a lot of clear to clear it now, because we already have clear on it. So we basically just kind of tapping over this, and it'll work out pretty good. So this here, I'm pretty happy with this. There's a couple spots I don't want to go too much further on, just because of the nerve thing. And I got a little spot right here. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, something I would love to get out of there a little more, but once again, like I was saying, this edge right here, I don't like it. I'm just afraid I'm going to keep hitting it, and then it's going to be burned through right there. So we're going to leave it. Now the hood, we're going to have to fix this, because that's kind of a, I don't like that. Not really sure what that little pinhole is there either. So that's something that's was obviously in the gray, and I missed it. And it's funny, when you're editing these videos, I notice stuff more in the video and the camera than I do like looking at it. So it's one of those, oh, I didn't see that. So we originally painted this with the Lacquer Tamiya LP85. As you can see, I made a mess on the side of the bottle, and I believe this was pretty much gone. I ended up ordering another bottle from MCW, because I do like the color. I actually bought it for an airplane project I want to start on, and I ended up using it on this, so I needed another one. So this one actually still has some paint in it, and if I remember right, I think I thinned this down so it's ready to spray, you know, use it for spraying. So I might do is just go back and hit this. I might do is just tape this off right here, and just spray this half real quick, just give it a little shot. That way should be a pretty nice even form look. Being it's lacquer, should dry pretty quick, and then we can go through and just go back on and clear coat it. So that's the plan. That's the plan. I thought about just trying to touch it here along the side and just see what happens. I've really never done it that way. I've always just kind of panel shot it, because like I say, it's just that corner. Just for curiosity, I'm just gonna give it a try, just to see what we got here. We'll try it with the old Q-tip, you know, because these things are magic in their own way. So like I say, we just need to cover up that gray, and then once we put the clear back on it, we're not going to care at that point. It might not even cover without making a mess. I think it's soaked into that Q-tip so bad I won't even show its face. I don't think that's going to work too good. Oh, there we go. Alright, I'm going to have to give her a couple applications. So we'll let that dry for a little bit. And put a little spot right here where that black dot is. I'm not sure what that is. There we go. Kind of like using whiteout and just kind of dab it in there a little bit. I feel like a little black on the side over here, but maybe not. Like I say, it looks like there is in some shadows. Looks like there's black poking through. But like I say, it's really, really hard to tell. So I'm going to want to wet sand this down just a little bit. So knowing that's drying pretty quick, I'm going to give this a few coats. So I know it's going to cover. Because that'll sand down super quick. I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. So we'll see how that looks. I'll hit this spot a little more here. Alright guys, so next day we let that gray dry a little bit. So we're giving it just a light wet sand. And once again we're using the 8000. And you really want to be careful just to run the edge of it. Just enough to cut it down. And this is something you're going to want to check your work often. Just to make sure you didn't go too far, and just far enough to go to do the job. So far we're looking good. I sanded the center. That's looking pretty good. So I just got to do a little bit on this edge here, and we should be good to go. So I'm just going to run that paper right next to the edge. So I don't want the edge, I just want to smoothen the side of it out. I probably could have did this with a paintbrush, probably would have been better, but just kind of showing you guys this actually works okay. There's very, very, very little bump detail there. I mean, that's, if I didn't tell you it was there, you probably would never notice it. Now it's going to be a different hue, you know, obviously because it's not clear coat, so it's going to be a little different color, a little different look. But that's okay, because once we clear it, that'll go away. A little lip right here. We'll soften that up just a little bit. Like I say, it's just versus painting the whole hood over. You know, it's not the best option, but like I said, I didn't want to go through and repaint the whole thing, so this is the next best step. So I got a little spot there, but I don't think that almost looks like it was something from previous. We'll see if we can bump it out of there a little bit. Like I say, what I really like about this sandpaper is it's not aggressive, so you got to do a lot to basically cut it. So it's not one or two swipes and you're done. You're like, whoops, I went too far. That's what I really like about this. It's not aggressive. So if you're looking for that, I need it done right now, this isn't your guy. That looks pretty good there. We're going to try that. We'll see how that turns out. I got just a little ripple in there, but I don't want to take that down too far, so hopefully I can cover it with the clear and take care of it that way. So that looks pretty good. So we're going to try that. We'll see how that works. So like I say, the rest of the car is sanded down pretty good. So we're going to go in and give it another quick wash job just to make sure everybody's cool. And we're going to come out and respray this. Yeah, this 8000 is that's the ticket. The stuff is really nice. Very impressed with it. It gives you such a soft, smooth overall look, all said and done. Like I say, we'll take it in and give it a good wash real quick, and we'll get a shot one more time. Alright guys, that second coat of clear looks amazing. It looked really nice. It turned out really good. Very, very little dust in this, so I'm very happy. It's funny, I have two spots in this that I'm really only concerned about, and one back here, I should say three. There's one almost identical across from each other in the doors. There's one right here, and there's one right there, so that's kind of weird. Other than that, the hood. So I showed you guys kind of cutting in the hood. Got a burn through. Check that out. So there's that spot right there. So that looks pretty good. So that works out really good, especially with lacquers. Enamels, I think you'd be having a little harder time doing it. It might work, and it probably would have worked better if I would have used a brush. but I don't know, I just had a toothpick or a clean wow, a Q-tip just sitting there, so I just went ahead and just used that, and as you can see, that worked pretty good. So put that on there and just wet sanded it a little bit once it cured real good, and kind of went from there. So that cleaned up pretty good. Could have maybe had another couple applications on it, but I mean, you really got to look for it to see it. So it's there, but just very, very little. So then that looks really good. The hood's pretty clean. There's a little dimple right there stomping in there. So I might polish that out just a little bit, and we're going to call this good. So like I say, we're going to sand this down just a little bit and give it a little hit of polish. I actually got two spots here. They're actually not, they look like more like dimples, like almost like a grease spot dimple versus a piece of dust. And like I say, just a couple there. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with the rest of it. So it looks pretty good from here. So JT, it's almost ready to head to your house. So guys, after this, I'm going to let it sit for another night. Just make sure things are good. And then we're going to go through and wet sand it one more time. And we're going to call this one good to go. Alright guys, so this is sat a few days after its second coat. So that looks really good. I can still see a little blemish there. If I would have probably took my time and give it another coat, it'd probably look okay. But it looks pretty good. I mean, you really have to kind of stare at it to notice it. And I got, like I said, I got a spot here and a spot here. So we're just going to wet sand those two little areas and then just kind of give it an overall polish. And we'll just leave it at that. So we're going to start out with just some 5000. This 5000 Trizac. And like I said, we're just going to do that spot right here in the door. Just these little spots right here. We're going to call her good. Okay, it looks pretty good. Now we're going to switch over to our 8000. See how that looks. Looking fantastic. Not sure what that is in there. It's got a little bump to it, but man, she's kind of weird. It's funny, it's the same thing over here. Okay, now I see I got two. Those look pretty good. So we're just going to hit those. They're not dirt spots, they're like dimples, like it's got a little grease in there. So we're going to take those down just a little bit and see if we can smooth them out. I'm not going to be able to take them all the way down just because I don't really know what we got going on there. So we're just going to get a little bit on the edge here. It's like I said, I'm not going to be able to take it all the way down just because I'll be obviously through the clear if I go all the way through it. And so we're doing this with 5000. Just trying to smooth it. That one looks pretty good. Just a little dimple there, but nothing like it was. I had that little crater effect going on there for a minute. So we're going to knock this one down a little bit more. We'll call her good. Not bad, not bad. Now we're going to hit with some 8000, and then we'll start some polishing. It's not bad. Looks better than it did. Alright, I think the rest of it look pretty good. Okay, so polish. We're just going to go with the Wizard Shine Master. As always, going to go with a new towel. A little bit on this side. You can see it didn't take much to polish that back. I just got quite a dimple in there, but see, I really don't want to go too far with it because it's really going to go down into the clear coat. But man, it's pretty deep. It's deep. That's looking pretty good. Here, a little more, a little buffing action, and we should be good to go. A little bit more up here, we should be good. I may go back and sand that trunk a little more because that's pretty deep looking. It's got some depth to it. So I like using these terry cloths. These here for a final shine on it. I think these work really good for a final buff. Just give you that nice glassy luster to it. That looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. That side looks really nice. So we're going to give the whole car just a real quick once over. Okay, we're going to let that set up just for a second. Okay, we'll give the top a little bit of a hit here just to give it an overall evenness. Like I said, I didn't wet sand this, it's pretty smooth. Now if we wanted that real showroom shine, we could wet sand this to give it one more light coat of clear, and oh man, she looked good. Okay, JT, she should be about good to go here. We'll wipe her down and see how she looks, and we'll get her boxed up. And there we have it. Looking pretty good. So you got a little dimple there yet. I don't know what that is, but I just don't want to sand it too far. Yeah, looking pretty good. Alright guys, so we're going to wrap this up. So we have just a little bit of quick polish a little bit here and there. So like I said, there's a couple little blemishes in there, but it's not, just looks pretty good. I'd say it looks really good.
Alright guys, so we got this bad boy wrapped up. So we got our 442 olds all finished up. So I think this turned out pretty nice. Pretty happy with it. I got a few, just a couple blemishes in there yet. But I tell you what, if you're really looking for that, oh man, you're looking for that, I want to get first place in the paint contest at a show. I'd have to wet sand this down a little more. There's a few little blemishes in here, but I'm telling you what, that looks really good right now. So I'm pretty happy with it. So we're wrapping this one up. Other than that, guys, like I say, just always check your work. Every time you do a little wet sand, check it. And you only need to go as far as you need to go. Don't go any further thinking, I'm going to make it better. No. Once you get to that spot's gone, stop. And like I said, stay away from the corners. And same as polishing. Polish will burn through it just as good as sandpaper will. If not even quicker. I mean, especially if you're using rotary tools. So a lot of times I will polish them just with a towel. And it works just as good for me anyways. So yeah, I think that turned out pretty sweet. I think it looks pretty good. So JT, this bad boy's heading your way, my friend. JT did pick the colors out for this. So I told him I'll paint one up for him and send it his way. And he wanted gray with silver on the bottom. So certain lights it's kind of hard to see, but yeah, it looks pretty good. So there we have it, guys. That is our conclusion of our 442 sand and polish. Wet sand and polish. Polish it up, make it look nice. So you can always do is finish this up with a nice coat of wax on top of it, but a lot of times I won't wax models at the end. I find it leaves a lot more fingerprints unless you're white glove handling it or cotton glove of some sort or anything like that. So, but hey, that's just the way it goes. It's only on your whatever preference you like, So other than that, guys, we're going to wrap this up and call her good. So also, hey, check out Hobby Nut Models. They got their annual Christmas sale going on. See what they got in stock. Get yourself something nice for Christmas. Even if the wife knows about it or not. Just get something. Get something good for yourself. Remember, it's always easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Hey guys, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you the next time around. Thanks for watching.